Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer this evening, Logan Landers, and join me to talk about this NFL Week 6 game preview between the Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Commanders is my guy, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing this afternoon, sir?
That's the great Steve Miller. Fly, you go fly. The birds flew last Sunday in the Mercedes-Benz Dome.
You are not kidding at all. What a good win that is. We'll talk about that and then some in just a moment. But if you enjoy the episode here today, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we appreciate you tuning in. But once again, give us a like, share your comments, and also share it to your Facebook feeds. Go to your Facebook groups or wherever you want to share it to. Do that so we can help us out and we can keep putting these videos out each and every single week. Once again, we go live Facebook, YouTube every single week. And we do have our podcast, thanks to our buddies at the Believe Podcast Network, each and every single week. Audio versions of all of our episodes you see here on the channel. Vincent, they did it last week. The Falcons, we'd been a little harsh on them here as of late because they had been struggling. But, man, last week they put it all together, got a good, close win, mind you, but a win is a win. 21-19 against the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud, he's been looking great this year. He had another good performance. But Desmond Ridder stole the show when it came to offense. First ever 300-yard throwing game for him. 28 of 37 passes. And like I said, one touchdown. He got it done, though. He did a very good job. Limited turnovers. Didn't have any at all. No interceptions. And also, Vincent, the offensive line came to play. No sacks allowed on the day for them. That is what we know this Falcons team can do, and they showed it against Houston last week. Rest of the squad, though, Ridder, like I said, he's now over at 1,000 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns, 3 INTs, has been sacked 16 times, but hopefully what we saw last week is a trend of what can continue. Receiving game, we already know the 1-2 punch here. Bijan Robinson, who has looked just like, he doesn't even look like a rookie at defense. He looks like he's been in the league for 5+ years. With as comfortable as he is and how he's able to find holes and just his ability to catch passes. The one he had last week against the Texans, the behind-the-back catch that was just absolutely beautiful to watch. He's done well, of course, 364 yards on the year for the young man, 5.5 average almost, and he's gotten in the end zone. Not yet on the receiving game. We're still waiting for his rushing game to get a touchdown, but he is getting on the receiving game, though. Jonnu Smith still leading your team in terms of yardage, 246 for the young man. Kyle Pitts, though, he's slowly creeping up. He's at 208. Drake London got some love last week. He was second on team in terms of receptions with 78 yards. Kyle Pitts, he had 7 catches last week. So that's what you got to do. Just get those 2 guys involved and have everyone else just fall into place. That's what we've been saying for weeks now. And, hey, it looks like Arthur Smith might have been paying attention, Vincent. Defense for the squad, you got guys like Caden Ellis, who's done really well this season. Jesse Bates, who's been absolutely worth all the money so far that they've paid him. Like I said, the Falcons team, 5 sacks on the season. Already do better than years past. Still got to see a little bit more out of that, though. Interceptions, they've gotten 3, but they can knock the ball down. 18 passes defended. They are some absolute monsters back there in the secondary. But to talk about these Falcons, what you saw, what you liked from them last week, and what you think they're going to be doing coming into this game on Sunday.
I'm going to say this. Very proud of the Atlanta Falcons. I don't want to get nobody upset, but proud of Arthur Smith, the 901. Everybody knows, and people probably don't like me because I say that a lot. The 901 is my hometown, Memphis, Tennessee, where Coach Smith is from. And something about the 901, it brings the L word, loyalty. When you're loyal to something, you don't really worry about what's going to happen on the other end. Last week, Desmond Ridder got tore up left and right. As we say in the streets, I don't want to say this, he got his ass torn out of the racket last week of all the criticism he took. I'm just being real, Mr. Landers.
Hey, go ahead.
It was so crazy that, and even me was thinking a little bit on that side. Justin Fields, we should trade for him. We should bench Desmond Ridder right now and go with Tyler Haneke. I said, if Tyler Haneke was so good, why the Washington Commandos, didn't re-up him? The bottom line, what I took from that game, it was a crucial game because you was playing a Houston, Texas team that had a red-hot rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud, who's now proving to everybody he's the best quarterback in the draft. Desmond Ridder, I'm proud of him, but I'm more proud than Coach Smith going back to the L word, loyalty. He stuck with him. He said, this guy going to be my quarterback. And to be honest, he said, hey, I'm gonna go down with the ship with him if I have to get fired. Because he said he wasn't going to make no changes. And you know, Desmond Ridder, I thought about this before the game on Saturday night, before they played on Sunday. All I thought about is a young man got class. And I thought about he took a program, Cincinnati, who was not even on a national scale to the college football playoffs. And his senior year, he went up to South Bend and beat a Notre Dame team. Cincinnati is only known for basketball, man. Come on, Oscar Robertson. Come on, brother. And the young man came out with all that pressure, with people in the stands hoping that he would do bad. Because, see, the Falcons fan base, I'm going to put it out there, y'all fickle. Y'all fickle. No loyalty. But Arthur Smith stuck with that young man, and boy, did he play a game. Poise, composure. Ran for 1 touchdown, passed for 1 touchdown, threw for 329 yards, 28 of 37, and led the game-winning drive for a field goal. And it was just beautiful. It reminded me of the days back in the mid, and I don't want to get nothing started, when the Dawn was at a pitch level, when they had the young man for Virginia, MV7. Desmond Ridder, I love you, man. You came back when all the chips down, when you was counted out, and you put on a performance. And kudos to the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff. Kudos to everybody over there with the Falcons brass, because that was a big win. That's a program-changing win. That's a playoff win, because at the end of the year, that game right there is what I say and what I call, when you look back on the Falcons schedule, what game changed our fortune? It was that game against the Houston Texans. And Desmond Ridder, I'm not saying he's there yet, but, man, he came and played when all the chips were down. I'm proud of the Falcons, man. Proud of Arthur Smith today. Proud he's from my hometown. Proud of just everything about that football team, and proud that Desmond Ridder played at a high level. But the NFL, you know what the 3 letters stand for? Not for long. So now you got the Washington Commandos coming in. Give it back over to you, Mr. Landers. Tell us about the Washington Commandos.
Well, for Washington, Vincent, it's been a tale of two halves in a way. Started off the year strong, 2-0, but they've dropped their last 3, including getting beat last Thursday on Thursday Night Football by the Chicago Bears. Got their first win of the year, Chicago did. 40-20 final score in that one. Look at you guys who they've got to have lining up this upcoming Sunday for Atlanta. Sam Howell, he's got over 1,300 yards thrown for the year. But Vincent, he's got 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and the big stat here, he's been sacked 29 times. That is way, way, way too much on the year. Got to get that cleaned up if you want to at least get a chance at winning this ball game. The rushing game, you got guys like Brian Robinson. He's your main back here. 271 on the year, 4.0 average. He's gotten 3 touchdowns for the season. Receiving core, got guys like Terry McLaurin. He's done well so far in the year, the young man has. Curtis Samuel behind him, Logan Thomas, Jahan Dotson, and Antonio Gibson all putting in some work. On the defensive side of the ball, that's really where this team's kind of struggled in recent weeks. Like I say, you gave up 40 to Chicago, gave up 34 to Philly, you gave up 37 to Buffalo. And, then you won against Denver, but you gave up 33 points. And then week 1 against Arizona, you gave up 16. So it's been a rough sled for Ron Rivera and the Commanders on defense. But you do have some good pieces out there, Vincent. Of course, when you look at this defense, you look at guys like Montez Sweat leading your team with 4.5 sacks on the year. He's looked tremendous. Chase Young, you know what he's about. 3 sacks on the year. Jonathan Allen also got 3 sacks. Leading your team in tackles, you got a monster in Cody Barton and Cam Curl, as well as Derek Forrest and Jamin Davis. So you got good pieces over there, Vincent. They just cannot get it to gel at the moment. 2 interceptions on the season, though. Got to get some more work in the defensive backs and the safeties. Got to get some more work there. But they do have 22 passes defended. So they're knocking the ball out of there, but they're just not coming away with it. So if I'm Washington, man, you got to get your O-line cleaned up, and you got to get the defense. You got to stop some points because you're giving up way, way too many. What's your thoughts on Washington?
I'm going to say this. Maybe it's time for Ron Rivera to start looking for another job. I think his time is really kind of ran out with Washington. They're under new ownership. They got Magic Johnson as a part owner. Magic Johnson put it best. The Commandos came out on national TV last week and looked like they weren't ready to play. Then I'm looking at your defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio. He's trying to be a political savant, stand in the political light. To me, Washington is not really getting the full coaching at a high level. I like the offensive coordinator, Eric B., but I think he doesn't have the quarterback in place. I'm going to say this. Justin Fields let them up last week, 282 yards. How many touchdowns, Logan? Maybe you can look that up he had in the game. DJ Moore had 3 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 230 yards. But I'm looking at the Commanders, and I'm looking at their D-line. Darian Payne, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young. All of them in common, they were first-round high NFL picks. High NFL picks. And you gave up 40 points to the Bears last week, and Justin Fields had a coming-out party. And to be honest, to me, you look at Washington, them guys been there for some years now. They're the most overrated D-line in the National Football League. Then I'm looking at the offensive standpoint. This is when I know that problems are with your coaching staff. See, no matter what, you can have Patrick Mahomes, you can have Joe Burrow, you can have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, even Mr. Tua over in Miami. Those teams are going to run the football and try to at least have balance. Washington last week threw the ball 51 times with Sam Howell. 51 times. They only ran the ball 10 times last week. Now, you got down in the football game, but then you got away from what you was doing. The game was still under control. You were still in the game. You was only down by 2 touchdowns in the second half. And then I'm looking at Mr. Sam Howell, even though he had decent numbers last week, but I just don't think him being a 5th-round draft pick. Can I ask you a question today, Mr. Logan Landers?
Go right ahead.
Think Mr. Sam Howell is going to lead the Washington Commanders to a Super Bowl anytime soon?
I'm not seeing it right now, Vincent. I'm not. I think he's got talent. I'm not saying that he's bottom of the barrel or anything like that. I think he does have some talent, but with just the pieces around him, I don't see it anytime soon. I do not.
Now, I'm looking at their football team generally. Terry McLaurin is supposed to be an NFL top, 10 receiver, supposed to be what they want to say elite right now in the league. You're thinking about defensively, as I said, their D-line has 4 first-round draft picks. They got a young man, Mr. Davis, out of Kentucky, who's a first-round draft pick. And you got Emmanuel Forbes, who's struggling. No question about a first-round pick out of Mississippi State. But there's talent on that football team. And to me, since Mr. Rivera has been there, they have not gotten over the bounce yet. And I hated that Eric B. is there as the offensive coordinator. We know what we're talking about. But that's why I was very curious why he took that job. To me, he should have stayed in Kansas City. But coming into Sunday, the Falcons, to me, are clearly a better football team. They're riding off a high. Desmond Ridder, you ain't got to come back and have a big 300-yard game. Now the Falcons, keep what's your strength. Even though Desmond Ridder threw for 300 yards last week, the Falcons are not a passing team. They're a play action team. Letting the run set up the pass. And your defense is played at a high level with Jesse Bates. So to me, I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons winning that football game 24-17 or 24-10.
All right, sir. Before I give my final thoughts here, I did look it up. Justin Fields had 4 touchdowns last week against Washington. So once again, great game for him. Glad to see him finally having a good performance. We also got some comments here from Mr. H.C. Hardy. We appreciate the comments, Mr. Hardy. He said, with Eric Bieniemy as the new offensive coordinator, if Howell has not grasped to his system and he has got to get rid of the ball, and he also comes in and chimes in saying, the trade deadline is near. Washington needs to go ahead and trade some of their top talent to get some draft picks and reduce their salary cap. So next year they can bring some talent in and some free agents. Not a bad idea at all, Mr. Hardy. Once again, we appreciate you chiming in here on the show. Well, Vincent, my final thoughts on this one, I think the Falcons are going to carry that momentum like you mentioned. I think the Falcons are going to go the win in this one. Final score is going to be 28-14. I think Washington's going to put up a little bit of a fight. Sam Howell, like I said, we'll see what he's about. But I think overall, just Atlanta's got the more talented squad on both sides of the ball, and that's why I'm picking the Falcons to win in week number 6. As always, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, appreciate you coming on, my friend, talking some NFL football this week. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone, and we'll talk to you again